Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. Chris Holman here in our downtown studios in Lansing. But we're going to run, we're going to run up to a representative of Traverse City Tourism. But actually, Trevor Takai, the president of exactly that organization, doesn't look like he's in Traverse City to me. Trevor, where are you?
Well, actually, I'm at a Destinations International conference out in Houston, Texas right now.
Ah, there you go. I wondered why you didn't have down on.
Yeah, no, it's a little warmer here. It's a little sticky this morning, but yet, it almost looks like the Grand Traverse Resort is behind me. So let's pretend I'm up in Grand Traverse County.
Let's do that. Let's do that. That'll allow me to ask you what Traverse City Tourism is. Just a quick explanation for everybody.
Yeah, we are the destination organization for the greater Grand Traverse region. What that means is we collect that hotel assessment from guests who visit. We use that money to work on things like promoting and building conference business and filling need times into the future. We also work on destination development in our hometown, trying to come up with ideas, be it events or enhancement to assets that not only are desirable to visitors, but are great for the community and help with our quality of life. So, and then we do things like advocacy. We try to make sure that our community has a voice, and that the tourism and hospitality industry have a voice, which is so critical right now as we try to recover from COVID and get things back on track.
I was going to ask you that. How are we doing at getting back on track? And by way of explaining that, I guess I'm saying, how did your summer go?
Yeah, we had a really solid summer. In fact, Traverse City and all of northern Michigan have done fairly well, because I think a lot of people in the metro areas were trying to get away from, the density. When we're trying to find wide open space, what better place in northern Michigan? And so we were the benefactors of high demand. But not unlike the rest of the hospitality industry, we've lost a lot of the staff. Hospitality was hit harder than any other industry. So we're still trying to regain the workers that we've lost. We're working on incentive programs, both at the business level, but also at the industry level, just trying to encourage people to get back into an industry where it's fun. It's a good industry. It's a solid one in northern Michigan. So we just got to kind of remind people we're still here and we're still doing our jobs and having a good time doing it.
It's interesting you say that, because people in that industry do have fun. You are absolutely right. And I know you guys are suffering from what all the rest of us are suffering from. And that's a lack of talent. It's hard to get folks. First time I've ever seen businesses closing during peak hours with a sign on the door that said, "We don't have enough staff."
It's sad. It's frustrating, because it means that, we've got all this potential. We've got all these wonderful assets in northern Michigan, and we're only using them a percentage of the time. So we're losing out on economic impact and activity, and it's, Traverse City Tourism just partnered with the state on a program called the Tri-Share program. And what this is, it's an opportunity to help people working in the hospitality industry, in our case, to get childcare support. So the state puts in a third of the cost. Traverse City Tourism will cover a third for our members. And then the employee only has to cover a third if they're qualified for this program. So there's still a shortage of childcare. So we're still working on that side of the equation, but at least we're trying to remove the barriers of entry to get back into the workforce. We know it's very important. A lot of, moms out there, or single parent households are being disproportionately affected, and we need to try to help them get back to work.
So basically, because there is a bit of an arithmetic problem here, and that is just not enough people coming into the workforce to replace those leaving. But you think this is going to have an effect on those who are opting out right now because financially they have to?
Well, yeah, I think it's twofold. One, it could potentially entice someone to come back in because it's an added benefit to get back into the workforce to reduce their costs. But I think there's a big piece of the workforce right now that's underemployed, that could potentially take more hours if they had childcare. Like maybe their kid is in school, for a couple hours, but then, they got to go pick them up. Well, if they had a childcare option for a couple of hours, they can maybe extend their day from a 5-hour day or 4-hour day to an 8-hour day. Now they're full-time instead of part-time. Now they're getting all sorts of other benefits they didn't have before. So I'm optimistic it'll have a broader impact than just getting people back in. I'd like to see it potentially give people more opportunity in the positions they're in as well.
You know, ironically, while a lot of the state is starting to close down, this has to be a shoulder season that turns out to still be a pretty good revenue season because of the colors, et cetera. How does this fall look?
It has been phenomenal. It's been unseasonably warm, which from a tourism perspective is good for us. The colors have held for a long time. This has been a long color season, which is unusual, but not completely uncommon. So we're taking advantage of that. Nearly every weekend is booked solid. Where we're still missing opportunity is in the conference business. And this has affected the whole state. But I can say with a pretty high level of confidence that we're maybe back to 50% of where we should be, like where we were pre-pandemic. So we still have a long way to go to get the meeting and group and conference business back all across the state. But I know if Traverse City is feeling that, I know bigger cities like Lansing and Detroit, Grand Rapids are definitely hurting because they've got the bigger conference centers.
Well, absolutely, everybody is in that respect. And it comes down to, in many cases, the employee base, right? Do you feel comfortable going to a retreat or a conference?
There's still a lot of last minute cancellations. We're working to try to build up confidence. You know, I will say with a great deal of pride that we have worked hard with our properties to make sure that they are prepared to put on safe meetings. We've been doing that for over a year now. In fact, we've followed guidelines. We've come up with our own protocols at the properties. So when people get to these events, and I'm in Houston, Texas right now. I'm at a conference. You know, I feel safe. I think we're all very conscious of one another's, you know, boundaries and respect that. You just have to be thoughtful about it, and we can get back to this business. And it's critical in our state that we do that.
No, I totally agree. And I know if somebody can do that, you can do it, my friend, being in one of the most beautiful spots on the planet. Trevor Takai, president of Traverse City Tourism. Thanks for joining us, my friend. And, you know, get back from Houston quick so you can enjoy that wonderful Traverse City area.
I'm flying back today. I'll be there.
There you go. All right. Thanks for joining us, bud.
Thank you.
All right. You're watching the Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman. Stick around. There's more ahead.